Hello, everyone. This is Trina Boyd. I am the founder of Women in Power, where we encourage, empower, and educate women on how to start their business, how to prosper your business, and different business tips that will help you in your business. So, today I'm going to talk about 8 different things that you would need to do before launching your business. So, one of the things that you would need to do is decide on a business name. So, you may think this is something simple, but truly, a lot of people that I run into don't even know what type of business that they want to do. They know they want to be an entrepreneur, but they really don't know what type of business. So, some tips on that. One thing that you can do is kind of see what your skill sets are. What are you good at? What is it that you're good at? And kind of go from there to decide on what type of business that you want to do. Um, if you want to get a pen and piece of paper, write this down because I am going to give you some good tips on some things that you would need to do before starting your business. Make sure you also subscribe to my channel. So, secondly, one of the things that you need to do, you need to decide on a business name. So, deciding on a business name can be kind of daunting depending on if you don't have any name ideas. For me, when I started a business, when I've started businesses, I have been a full time entrepreneur for 9 years. So when I have started businesses, I did have a really hard time coming up with a name for my business. You really want something that is catchy. I got ideas from family members. I got ideas from my husband, and a lot of the times, with the names of my businesses, I really didn't come up with them. I kind of pulled the name ideas from family members and from my husband. So kind of like brainstorm on something that is catchy, eye catchy, to when someone looks at your business name, they'll get interested in the actual name and want to find out more information about your business. The third thing that you would need to do is decide on a business entity. So, an entity is the type of business that you would want to do in reference to either incorporating your business or if you want to incorporate your business. So, the different entities that are out there, you have a sole proprietorship, you also have an LLC. I know you've heard of this before. You have an LLC, you have corporation, and then you also have partnership. They just added that as a entity, and then you also have a nonprofit organization. So depending on what type of business that you have will determine what type of entity. If you have a business that is high in liability, you definitely do not want to do a sole proprietorship. If you have a business that have low liability, you can do a sole proprietorship. One of the things when you are deciding on an entity, just remember a sole proprietorship is free to do. I will talk about how to determine if you want to do that, but it is free. LLCs is not free. Corporations are not free, so you will have to pay money in order to incorporate those entities. So just some things to think about. But that's one thing you would need to decide on. What type of entity would you want to do with your business will determine the liability. So just make sure you think about that before you go in and say, hey, this is the entity I want to do. For example, I had a licensed child care facility in North Carolina. One of the things that I had to take into consideration is liability. So, did I choose to do a sole proprietorship or LLC? Will depend depending on the liability. So another thing, the fourth thing that you want to consider when you are opening up or launching a business is if you want to work from home or do you want to invest in a office space. So starting off, if you don't have a budget or if you are trying to start off with no money, you definitely can start your business from home. You can start it from home. Depending on the type of business, will depend also if you can even start from home. We have co-working spaces that are really inexpensive to invest in. So if you want to not be at home and you want to kind of get out and work around other people, you can definitely invest in a co-working space. It is inexpensive versus getting or leasing a office space. You sometimes can find some great office spaces, but just kind of consider, okay, do you want to work from home? Is it financially better for you to work from home? If that's the case, then you may want to decide to work from home. Like I said, if you don't have a budget or if you don't have a lot of funds, you definitely want to consider to work from home. If you do have a budget and you say, hey, I want to go full in, you can definitely invest in a co-working space, or you can invest in an office space. A lot of the co-working spaces will allow you to get a virtual address, so you can actually use their address for your office space, which is awesome. Even if you work from home and you don't want, like, if when you get ready to list your business on Google, which that's one thing you should do, is list your business on Google, you definitely will need a virtual office address. Google do have it to where you can block out your address, but if you want to be look professional and look, like a big corporation, you definitely want to have a virtual office or a virtual address where you can send all your mail to, and also where you can put your business on Google. So make that determination on if you want to get an office space or if you want to do at home. So the fifth thing you would want to consider is, the next thing that you will want to do is to get a tax ID or EIN. You may hear it different ways. You may hear EIN, employer identification number. You may hear tax ID. It's the same thing. So don't get discouraged about that, but it's the same thing. So you definitely want to get that. I do have a video on, I am going to link that. I do have a video on how you can, step by step, on how to get a tax ID number. Getting a tax ID number is completely free. So basically, make sure you check out that video on step by step on how to get a tax ID number. You're probably wondering, why do I want to get a tax ID, right? Why do I want to get a tax ID? Well, number one, when you go to file your taxes, you definitely do not want to use your Social Security number when you are filing your business taxes. You can. The IRS have not changed it to where you have to have a tax ID number, but eventually you want to look professional. And if you're doing business with people or corporations, you don't want to have to give out your Social Security number for business purposes. So having a tax ID is a must. Okay, so make sure you get the tax ID number. So the sixth thing you want to do is get your paperwork in order. So one of the things we just talked about was an entity. So if you are doing a sole proprietorship, you do not have to do any paperwork as far as the state goes. But if you say, hey, I want to do an LLC, I don't want a liability, or I want to do an S corporation or a corporation, you definitely want to do your paperwork. So the paperwork consists of finding out through the state. So whatever state you're in, North Carolina, South Carolina, wherever you're at, the fees vary, but you will have to pay a fee if you do decide to do an LLC, or if you decide to do a S corporation, or if you decide to do a C corporation, or whatever it is, partnership, nonprofit, whatever your entity is, you will have to do paperwork through your state. So look more into that. I may even do a video on that, so just make sure you subscribe to my channel. So the seventh thing you want to do, especially if you're working from home, you definitely want a website. All businesses need a website. So make sure you get a website. My favorite is Wix. Wix do have some really great templates, and it's really good for small business owners who know nothing about building a website. If you know nothing about building a website, Wix is perfect for you. They have really great templates. You can customize templates. You can add pictures. Make sure if you do add pictures, make sure your pictures are professional. When I say professional, not professional through a photographer, but like you can use your iPhone. to actually do pictures, but make sure they're not blurry. Make sure they look really good if you're going to be placing them on your website. Also, Wix do have pictures embedded into the website that you can use for free. But make sure you have a website before you launch your business. The very last thing, and of course there are more, but today I'm doing 8. So the very last thing that you're going to need for branding purposes, you definitely going to need a logo. So a logo is very important when you're branding yourself or your business. So what I do, a lot of people probably tell you to pay someone. My professional opinion, I would not pay anyone. I would, what I do, I use Canva. Canva, C-A-N-V-A, C-A-N-V-A. Canva is a really, really great tool to use for practically anything, but logos, definitely a go. But you can do it yourself. You can customize the colors. Some tips on when you're creating your logo. Some tips on that is to make sure it's more modern, like a more modern feel. A lot of colors, depending on if you're not a professional, a lot of colors will not look appealing or modern. So kind of when you're doing your branding, make sure your colors are there. So make sure you do maybe 2 colors tops. You don't want a lot of colors, but make sure you pick some branding colors, because you don't want to be all over the place. You don't want to be all over the place with colors, especially with your website. So if you pick, so for example, my branding colors for Women in Power is black and white. So black and white, black is my favorite color, but my branding colors are black and white. So my logo is black and white. And then also on my website, it's black and white. So that's keeping up with that brand that you have. So those are just a couple of tips on what you need to do. So first tip was determine what type of business that you want to do. Second tip is determine a business name. Decide on your business entity type. Do you want to operate from home or do you want to get an office space? These are all important. Make sure you get a tax ID. I do have the link up here where you will be able to click on that and find out. Make sure you do your paperwork. That's important. Get your paperwork in order. Get a website. Every business needs a website. And also get a logo. Those are just a few things on what you would need to do. But I am going to be doing some more videos that's going to definitely help you if you're just launching a business. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell as well for future tips. Thank you all for watching and have a great one.